Investors with at least $1 million in their 401k accounts increased to 200,000, up from 196,000 the previous quarter. IRA millionaires rose to just over 182,000, up from almost 180,000 the previous quarter. So let's turn to the panel on this. This happened, of course, when investors were dealing with recession fears and worry over the China trade war, although we talked about just now that the market has been going up even in the face of all of that. So, you know, if you've got your money in your 401k and IRA, you're sitting pretty, I guess.
You're feeling pretty good. I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was asking Oscar about is, you know, the market is pretty, you know, fairly valued, if not a little bit pricier than normal. But where else are you going to go? Look, every 2 weeks, billions of dollars come in from retirement accounts across the country, right? Where's it going to go? It's going to go mostly in the stock market. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing, you know, the economy still strong. We're seeing the stock market go up. We're seeing that money come into the market. I'm not surprised that we're seeing more millionaires here.
I hope all of us suffer this problem going forward, which is as your 401k balance grows over your career lifetime, you risk kicking yourself into a higher tax bracket at retirement if you do not plan accordingly.
Right.
So you've got to be, I mean, your age, but you're not there yet, but you've got to be careful. You've got to look at, is there a Roth option that you can put money into? Those kinds of issues. You've got to be real careful with this.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, it's kind of difficult to predict on a political basis what the tax environment is going to be like when you do pull your money out of that retirement account at some point in the future. 2 points I want to make here. The first being that there's many levers to how much money you have in your account, right? So it's not that investors had, you know, $10,000 in their 401k that all of a sudden grew to $1 million. It's an accumulation of the amount of money per paycheck that they're willing to put into these accounts. But then secondly, just the idea that, look, this is also a long-term thing, right? A lot of these investors, they didn't get to $1 million necessarily just this year. It's been the accumulation of decades of investment. And what we saw is that people who put money into these 401ks before the crisis would have drastically increased their holdings if they held on to it through the crisis, whereas you had a lot of risk aversion during the financial crisis where people were dipping out because they didn't know where the bottom of the stock market was going to be, understandably. But if you held on to it, look, we're at all-time highs now for all the major indexes. So as our own colleague Miles Udland will say, stocks go up in the long run. They always go up.
Until they don't.
Until they don't.
But
It all depends when you want to retire, right?
And your time horizon.
Yes.
Exactly.
Your time horizon, and it's a mixed blessing in some ways because of they're trying to change the mandatory age for distribution with the IRA. 401ks, as we talk, can kick you into a higher tax bracket. And you got to do something with that money. Once you're at the retirement point with the 401k, do you want to leave it in risky investments or do you want to move some of it into something fixed income type of vehicle?
And that was the report yesterday out of Fidelity, right? Was that a lot of boomers had their cash all in the stock market. They weren't, you know, sort of rotating into safer, well, low-risk investments as much as they should have been doing because, hey, how can you do it when the stock market goes up every day, right?
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.